Hi everybody, it's Ethony and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some easy ways, a step-by-step, of how to read tarot for yourself. So I'm at my altar today and we are going to be doing a little bit of an example reading to show you the steps. As with everything I say, take what resonates with you and simply leave the rest, as everyone is going to have a different way of reading tarot for themselves. The first reason you will read the tarot for yourself is that you are your best ally, or you should be your best ally. Treat yourself as you would your very best friend when you are reading tarot for yourself. Give yourself that good advice and give yourself a lot of compassion and grace. But you are your number one ally in this life, and it is a great way to make sure outside influences aren't going to mix up your reading. The second reason that you may want to read tarot for yourself is it will confirm a lot of your inner knowing. A lot of us get instincts about people or about situations, and doing a reading for yourself is a wonderful way to confirm what you've been feeling all along. Now, our intuition is rarely wrong, but it's always great to get confirmation from the universe, the tarot, and your guides that you are in fact on the right track. The third reason you may want to read tarot for yourself is it is a really great way to learn the art of tarot. It's a wonderful way to notice details in the cards, the color correspondences, all the symbols in the tarot as well, and the meanings. It's a wonderful way to even learn new systems. So you may be moving from Rider-Waite-Smith to Thoth or diving into Marseille. So it is a great way to flex those muscles every day and learn a little at a time. And lastly, it is a wonderful way to flex those sexy psychic muscles. Your psychic muscles, your clairs, and all that intuitive energy only gets stronger with use. You can't just go, I meditated once and now I'm like totally aligned. No, you need to do the work every day. By coming into the tarot and reading for yourself, you are flexing those muscles and deepening the strength of your psychic abilities. So before we get into the actual mechanics of how to do a reading for yourself, or at least my suggestions, I would highly recommend that you actually use a tarot spread for reading for yourself. So there are some really good reasons as to why we do this. If you don't use a tarot spread, you may be a little tempted to keep flipping over those cards until you get the one that you want to get. I know you're out there. I know you're guilty of doing it. There's no shame in the game. But if you have a tarot spread, you are actually going to be less likely to be biased about your own reading. The second highly recommended tip is to use a very simple tarot spread. 2 to 3 cards at max. Again, this is a way to give yourself a roadmap, not to get overwhelmed, and to really focus on what the cards are trying to tell you and not necessarily what you want to hear. So those are 2 things I would try to adhere to, especially at the beginning when you're reading the tarot for yourself. So now let's go through the mechanics of how to read the tarot for yourself. Choose the deck that you feel the most drawn to. Now, there are so many videos out there on how to choose a tarot deck, but honestly, I like to keep it simple. The one that you feel the most drawn to. There is no right or wrong. So I am choosing and using my Bad Bitches Tarot, but use whatever deck that you have on hand. The next thing you want to do is to think about the question. What do you want to know? The best results come from a clear and concise question. Please always do one reading per question. You may want to ask about your love life and your work and your neighbor's cat and whatever it is you want to know about. But honestly, one question per reading, because otherwise you're going to get confused and it's going to get very muddy and you're going to get no useful information at all. So once you have your question, you're going to hold that in your energy and in your mind while you shuffle your deck. So I'm going to, for this example, say, what is the best way for me to move forward with a relationship in my life? So you would shuffle, or my favorite type of shuffling. Every day I'm shuffling. Shuffle the cards while you think of your question. You would cut the deck however you like to cut the deck. I always cut with my left hand. I'm left-handed. It is my dominant hand, but I also connect with my left hand because it is the right side of my brain, and that is the creative, intuitive side. So I cut my deck, and then I would place that one on the top, and then I will select my cards. Now, I don't read reversals. If you read reversals, that's absolutely fine. You do you. But if you see me flipping a card around, that's why. So now I have laid out my cards. The first one is the Four of Wands, and that is where I am right now. The second one for this spread is the King of Wands, where I'm going. And the middle one, the key is how I'm going to get there, which is the Moon. So then I would just go about and interpret my reading. So this is where all of the work comes in, is actually taking the time to sit with the cards and think about what your reading actually means. So one of the things that I really noticed in this is that I go from the Four of Wands to the King of Wands. So there is a progression there, and it really talks about sort of leadership and ensuring that I'm keeping my energy as my own energy. And then the Moon really speaks to me about my intuition as things change and people go through phases and cycles, and just to be a little bit patient. Then write your reading out. So have a journal or a notebook. I have several tarot journals and notebooks that are just for my readings. I would record that and date it so that I am able to go back and keep a record, add some reflections on what happened in the future, if the prediction, if you're doing divinatory readings, came true, or what the outcome of the reading was in real life. So I can go and see if there are any common themes to readings, situations, or with the cards showing up more than once. You can also take a photo. We all have smartphones pretty much, so you can take a photo and print it out and pop it in your journal as well. And then you would simply pack away. If you ever get stuck, do not hesitate to hit the tarot books. One of the things that I find to be really interesting about reading for myself is that I tend to get a little more stuck than I would with my clients. I find it super easy to read for other people, which, let's face it, is a good thing because that's kind of what I do. But I find that I get a little stuck with myself. So go to a book, read what inspires you about those cards and see, and then maybe reflect on it a little bit before you dismiss it as being incorrect or not vibrating with what you feel is going on. So there are some times when I wouldn't recommend reading the tarot for yourself. The first one is when you are way too close to a situation and you can't see the forest from the trees. This often shows up as confusion or anxiety and stress. So if you're in that vibe where you really can't figure out or pinpoint or are anxious about something, go to somebody else and get a reading, because your vibration is going to be reflected in the cards. Another time I really don't recommend reading the tarot for yourself is when you are too invested in the outcome. Look, being invested in your life is fantastic. It's what drives us. It's what keeps us going and has us motivated. But when you are too invested in maybe, say, a specific person you got a little crush on, or you really wanted that one job, maybe don't get a reading, because first of all, you may not hear what the tarot has to say. And secondly, you may be a little disappointed. So if you're too invested in the outcome, go and consult a professional. And the third time you shouldn't read the tarot for yourself is when you have biases that you cannot put aside. So this is something I've mentioned in a bunch of my videos around reading for clients and reading for other people and when you're ready to go pro. But if you can't put your biases at the door, especially when it comes to our relationships with people, like you expect people in your life to react a certain way or to be a certain way, or you have such distinct memories that any other interaction or reaction from those people is not what you are going to accept, go and see a tarot professional, because sometimes we are not the messengers that we have been waiting for. I like to read the tarot for myself a lot, but there are definite times that I know I need to go and consult one of my colleagues and another tarot professional to get the right advice and the right message. So don't feel like you have failed or you're doing something wrong if this is you. I definitely get lots of readings from my tarot friends in the community. So what about you? Have you tried reading tarot for yourself? Do you find it a little bit hard to get out of your own way and get out of your own head? I would love to hear your experiences. So my little bumblebees, leave me a comment and let me know. If you liked this video, please let me know by giving me a little thumbs up or a heart. Make sure you share it with your friends too if they'd be down with all the tarot goodies. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I will see your fantastic selves next time. Ciao!